Hello everyone, welcome to my Japanese Progress Update series. It's episode number 14 and today we are going to talk about my progress with Japanese, as the title of the series suggests. So the two things I'm going to talk about today is Japanese from Zero Book 2. If you've been following my channel and also my Twitter account, I have completed the book about a month ago. And then I'm going to talk about my experience with Italki. And yeah, that's the menu of today's episode. So just a couple of words on Japanese from Zero Book 2. So I did a full review, so if you want to watch my full review, then I will try to link the video down below. But I really enjoyed the book. So far, I really enjoyed this series. I think it's a really useful and really good textbook because it doesn't teach like other textbooks I've tried, like I've tried Japanese for Busy People, and it's not terrible, but it's not as great because I feel like Japanese from Zero is much more communication oriented. It's more everyday situation and it's kind of easy as well, which is nice. I mean, I don't mind the more complex textbooks, but I like the fact that it's fairly easy to use. There's the videos that go with it, and I always talk about the videos because I think it's such a great addition to the textbook. And to my knowledge, I don't know any other textbook from any language that does videos like that. So it's amazing. That's why I really like this series. And what I liked particularly about book 2 is that it teaches you the informal Japanese, which is not really done in textbooks. They tend to wait, I think, for quite a long time. And it's great because I don't want to sound weird with my friends in Japanese. So it's definitely a nice thing in the book because a lot of textbooks, they wait for a long time before they start introducing the informal Japanese, even though learners, often they will learn Japanese for like informal situations, to visit Japan and be with friends maybe. So it's a shame that the informal version is not taught much earlier on, although I understand that it's a set of other grammatical rules that you have to learn in order to be able to speak informally, so there's that. But yeah, I feel like the teaching of informal Japanese is what I preferred the most in the book, and I try now to use it as much as possible. But I'm going to move on now to the most interesting point for me to talk about in this episode, and it's Italki. If you've been following me on Twitter, and if you're not following me on Twitter, like, what is wrong with you? Come on now. The link is in the description box below. So do follow me. I do a lot of updates about my Japanese and other things. So last week rather, I've started using Italki and I'm really enjoying it right now. Obviously, it would be too early for me to review it because I don't have enough, experience with Italki, but I will eventually. But I've tried two Japanese tutors and it's not been easy to find the right tutor for me because there's a lot of Japanese tutors and teachers on the platform and you kind of have to look through a lot of profiles, and I tend to be quite picky. I didn't want a teacher that would just go through a textbook without taking into consideration what I knew already. And I know I can be like a harder student to work with because I'm not a beginner and I'm kind of all over the place. I've used different textbooks and different things to learn Japanese, so it's not like it's not like they can just pick it up where I left off in a textbook, if that makes sense. So I really needed teachers that were adaptable in that way and flexible. And I was lucky that the first two teachers that I've tried, I really clicked with them. I thought they were really good. I will actually put a link to their profiles on Italki if you're interested in checking them out and maybe taking lessons with them. But I'm going to talk about them individually because I chose them for two different reasons. So the first one is Todo-san, and what I liked about this teacher is that he doesn't speak any English. I mean, he speaks some English, but it's quite limited, so it's really useful because that means that I really have to sort of find a way to communicate with him using only Japanese. And God knows my Japanese is still very much beginner level. But actually, with this lesson, I realized that I could say actually a lot more than I thought. Before the lesson, I only thought that I couldn't say many interesting things, but actually because he was quite good at adapting the level of the lesson to my level, he actually allowed me to express quite a lot of things. Obviously, there was lots of mistakes. He gave me lots of corrections, but I thought that was really useful to have this conversation conversation with him. So I really liked his lesson. It was only the trial lesson. I'm gonna have a lesson with him right after this video actually. And I decided to carry on with him, and I hope that will work out, but I feel like I found a very good teacher. And I decided that I would use him for conversation mainly, because I feel like this is what I need to do a bit more, you know, putting into practice all the grammar and vocabulary that I've learned. And I have another teacher called Aina-san, and I really fell in love with the way she teaches. It was only a half an hour lesson, but I knew after this trial lesson that she was the right one for me. Because also I am a teacher, so I kind of know how to teach and what is a good teacher and what isn't. I mean, I think I would be able to spot it quite simply and quite easily, but I liked that she was very flexible in terms of what we did in the lesson. Bear in mind, we only had half an hour and there's so much you can do, but I feel like we did a lot. So the main thing that I liked about the way she taught is that she really tried to sort of spot what my level was. So she would ask easy questions first and then more difficult questions, and then she could sort of spot where my weaknesses were. We did a tiny bit of grammar on the T form, and I felt like I was sort of okay with the T form, but you know, she could tell that I still needed to revise it a bit. And then she asked me what I wanted to do, which was very important, because I wouldn't want a teacher that just sort of assesses what I need and then just sort of ignore what I actually kind of want to do, and just goes for, you know, what she thinks is good for me. She obviously does that, but she also asked me what I wanted to revise, and I know she took it into account, because when we messaged each other on Italki, then she said, yeah, we'll do this later, etc. And then she gave me homework, and I liked the homework because I could tell she really listened to what I needed to do and what I needed to practice. And she gave me exercises that were appropriate to what I needed, so that was nice. It was a bit challenging. She gave me a text with some kanji, not difficult, but some kanji, and I liked that she wasn't scared of challenging me, and that's really what I need. I feel like I'm not like an expert at learning languages, I wouldn't say that, but I've got quite a lot of experience and I'm quite good with grammar. Like, grammatical terms don't scare me. Like, you know, give me the predicate, give me the pronouns and things like that, you know, like it doesn't faze me. I like that, and I like having a challenge, because I'm quite comfortable with difficulty, because I know some people, if something is difficult, they might give up, they might not have the resilience, which, you know, I'm not judging, you know, it's fine. It's difficult to get used to it, but I feel like I'm not scared of something challenging. So I really hope she's going to challenge me a lot, because I want to learn a lot. And I was very keen because she gave me homework, and like 6 hours later I completed it, even though the lesson is like next Saturday. And I did them on Sunday. But yeah, I'm really keen. And if you're interested in maybe checking out these teachers, I so far recommend them. I think they were very effective, and I could tell they have experience, they know what they're doing. I will put the links in the description box below. Do check out you know, the way they teach and see if you like it. But yeah, by all means, have a look. What else? Oh yeah, someone asked me on Twitter, so that's Hacker on Two Wheels. He asked me about my use of graded readers, so whether I had used any graded readers or not. I did mention some of the graded readers I've tried on this series. I haven't focused too much on reading. This is definitely something I want to fix, but I've never been very big on reading. Not that I think reading is not effective or anything, but it's just a personal preference. I do read, but I don't tend to read so much, but I know for Japanese it's quite useful, because I want to get like some well-rounded fluency. I don't want to just be able to speak, I want to be able to also write and read, etc. And I know a lot of people say you don't have to learn how to write, but I want to, you know, I do whatever I want, right? But I will probably talk about them a little bit later. I do have graded readers which I use, and it's this series, this one, which I've showed before, as I said. I haven't read them all yet, so I can't sort of review them yet, but I will review them at some point. As you know, if you've been following this channel, I like to review all the things that I use. It's just a fun process. So yeah, to finish this video, I'm just going to talk about a little bit of what I want to do or achieve in the next few weeks or months. I obviously want to be consistent with my lessons, make sure I do my homework and I do practice, and that I review the vocab we do in lessons, because I find the vocab very useful. And yeah, I think that's going to be quite a nice objective to try to meet. And also, as usual, I will be using Japanese from zero. So I haven't properly started book 3, but that's going to happen this week, I hope, because it's going to dig into the kanji, which is very exciting. A bit scary, but quite exciting as well. And yeah, I think that's not bad. And obviously I will keep on doing my Anki decks, always, I do them every day, no matter what. I have a friend who asked me, how do I find motivation to do Japanese? I'm not always motivated to do Japanese. Sometimes I just honestly can't be bothered, but there's one rule, and I'm quite firm with it, is that I will always do my Anki reviews no matter what. If it's midnight and I forgot, I will do them. I do not care. Like, I really don't want to start saying or give myself excuses like it's too late or I didn't have time. Like, no, I have time if I make it my priority and I want it to be my priority. So therefore it is my priority. I mean, I know it's more complex than that, but it's really something that I work on regularly to make always some time for Japanese, even if it's 15 minutes if I'm too busy. But I try to put in at least an hour of work. Yeah. Anyway, so I'm starting to rumble, so I'm going to stop the video there. If you have any questions, by all means, ask them in the comment section. And I will see you in a future video. And don't forget to subscribe, like this video, share it, why not? And I will see you next week. Bye.